Hello everyone, good to see you again. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope my previous videos has somehow enlightened each of you whoever watching it, and then has benefited you if possible. Okay, about my topics, all topics that I shared on the energy management, energy efficiency, and other things. So in this video, I would like to share about another one topic. This is more about my thoughts on this topic, especially for technical personnel, engineers, especially engineers or technical personnel involved in the energy management or energy efficiency projects, or as energy manager. So this topic is about the importance of having some kind of knowledge about the finance, especially on the financial evaluation part of your projects. Because commonly, typically in any energy efficiency projects, especially that the one that require investment from the company, either from through the internal capex or from the third-party funding or from the loan and so on. Even for engineers or energy managers, if they want to pursue or they want to put up a business case, okay, about energy management itself, you like it or not, for us as a technical personnel, we always look at the, for example, energy performance. But for the top management, okay, for the decision makers in their business, they are always looking at business performance. Therefore, it is quite critical for us as technical personnel or even energy managers to have some knowledge and understanding how we can link energy performance to business performance. And when we talk about business performance, we cannot avoid from talking about finance or monetary or money. All right. Okay. For about the finance. Okay. So one of the key resources is the financings. We need money to get things done. Therefore, for us to be able to justify the needs of the money, okay, the need for the investment, from the decision makers or from the company, we have to convince them through financial language, financial methods. It is always, it's always not enough if we can come up with a very good in terms of technical, in terms of technologies, good in terms of the solutions. Yes, the solution we are confident that it can bring savings. Okay, savings that can improve performance. However, you must convert into all the improvement that we estimated from our technical expertise or knowledge or know-how. Okay, how that projected improvement in terms of energy cost, energy reduction or energy improvement converted into in terms of monetary values, and then that monetary value will be how you can link that monetary benefits from the energy performance improvement to the business performance. So the linkage is always about financings. Okay, financings, especially about the how we evaluate each project, each solutions, each program related to energy management, okay, in terms of its financial feasibility. Therefore, it's very, for me, it's imperative for technical personnel to have some understanding about what are the common method on how any project that require financial resource, okay, to be assessed financially. Okay, because for example, we may be very proud of coming up with a solution. For example, we want to improve our aircon system. We can save from our calculation, technically, we can save up to 30-40% of energy costs from that solution. For example, retrofitting projects. Okay, but we have to make sure that whatever number that we produce and then we convert into RM, we can see it in the same view the way how decision makers see that. For example, if we put our estimation of saving 50,000 per year, okay, so maybe the equipment can last for another 15 years. So does it mean that the value of our savings, okay, the value of our so-called benefit from the projects exactly 50,000 every year for the next 15 years? The answer is not. And for us, for us to be able to see that, that value in the same view of how the financial controller see it, how decision makers also see it, in the same way. Therefore, we need to have that knowledge for us when we talk, so at least when we talk to the people who are looking into the investment part, for example, the financial controller, even from the finance, then they look into our project's benefit in terms of monetary value. Okay, and then later to the top management. Okay, we have to bring something that at a similar language. We understand same things. We may say about 40% savings, okay, but they may see from, net savings. Because therefore, there is some common knowledge about financial evaluations, some terminology. Engineers or technical personnel must have that kind of knowledge so that they can, at least they can perform that basic assessment to ensure that their project is feasible. Okay, for example, we have to know about some knowledge about what does it mean by, at least simple payback period. Okay, and of course, ROI. This one quite common because it's that kind of assessment with no time factor involved. Okay, but the moment we go to the financial controller, people with some kind of financial knowledge, okay, they will start to look at that, the investment, especially investment that huge, okay, and that, we expect to get back the money within some years, all right. They have to look at, the financial assessment that come together with the time factor. Okay, for example, simple payback period. Okay, very simple, no time factor, but for them maybe they look at it from the discounted discounted payback periods. Discounted payback periods over that period. Okay, so normally that one can be longer compared to the simple payback period with no time factor. Another common, terminology that we have to understand is the net present value. Okay, then we explain how much exactly the real value of the money for that particular year. Not simply 50,000 saving per year, similar for the next 15 years. So like it or not, when we do our project evaluations, even from the technical personnel, we should be able to have some idea what exactly the value of money that we will have in the following years, not purely from the one that we estimated from our initial forecast. So we have to know that at least, for example, at least we need to know how to calculate net present value for that projected income or savings, or in other words, they call it as a cash flow to the projects. Okay, and then if that investment requires some kind of so-called loans, you must be able to factor the interest rate involved. Okay, that one thing. Three things. One, just now, simple payback. We have to know what's discounted payback, and ROI. ROI no time factor. It's not enough basically for people to make decisions. And then NPV, net present value of the money, the real value of the money at that particular time in the following years. Okay, the present value of the money. From there, we can calculate the net present values. Okay, that's a common item that any financial controller will look into. They need to look at the real value of the money, not just from the simple calculation that we typical engineers will do. So like it or not, engineering managers must have that knowledge, what is the basic financial assessment. So they must know how to calculate present value. Okay, from there they can calculate the net present value. They will know the true value of the money, let's say after 15 years. Every year for throughout the 15 years. That one thing. Another one, at least, for me, for engineering managers, they should know how even to calculate the internal rate of return. How much exactly, all right, that investment will bring them over that life cycle of the lifetime of the project. For example, 10 years, 15 or 20 years. Is that, that value of that that investment will bring the return, at least, not at the loss. So we have to know what's internal rate of return all about, or IRR all about. That one another thing. So we have to know, the basic knowledge must be there, so that we can assess our project when we got, for example, for the net present value, the higher the better. Okay, if you know how to calculate net present value, we will know we will find a way how to make it higher. Okay, we will know how to make it higher from our project itself. Okay, there are always three elements how we can make the NPV higher, net present value higher. Similar to IRR. Okay, for example, if our IRR, okay, lower than our cost of capital of our investment, okay, we can't proceed with the project. But if you don't know how to calculate that, we will still present it to the top management. Okay, that's why we have to know that, the basics. So we have to get the knowledge on how to at least calculate what's IRR. Okay, and then the next part, okay, so for internal rate of return, for example, even for the PV, okay, we always look at the savings, and then we calculate the based on certain interest rate or capital cost, we calculate the PV value, you know. But I know this because when, for example, if you're involved in the EPC projects, you know, or even normal projects, okay, you have to even calculate not just the present value, we have to get the net one, the net present value, sorry, the present, the so-called, the discounted present value, we have to factor whatever cost in between. Okay, so that one only, not just from the savings, you get the present value. No. Okay, you have to factor, you know, the net, you know, the net present value, you know. You have to factor all the costs incurred throughout the lifetime of the projects as well. Okay, so that we make, you know, so at the end of the day, the financial people look at that end value. What we look at only at from the so-called the cash flow of the savings, all that only. Okay, that's one thing. Okay, so maybe some of you actually engineers, all right, may not get what I'm trying to say, but that's the fundamental. Okay, you like it or not, we have to get the knowledge. I personally never thought that's very, very important. But as I move on in my career, slowly I started to communicate at high level of people, and then they start to talk about the different language. It's no longer technical. When it comes to decision making process, it's no longer technical discussion. It's all about dollar and cents, and all about financial assessment. How about all about the what's actually the output of the financial assessment, IRR, you know, life cycle cost and all that. Okay, we need to know as a technical personnel. Okay, of course we can get help, you know, from our finance people to understand that. At least when we come to the first, like for the first stage of the projects, you know, projects assessment, we can go through. Let's say we know that the project is worth it to be presented, even feasible to get even external funding. That one thing I mentioned just now. Simple payback, anyone can calculate. ROI, anyone can calculate. But discounted paybacks, we have to learn. Present value, we have to learn how to calculate. Okay, net present value, we have to calculate. Learn how to calculate. Okay, even next one, IRR. Okay, IRR. That will determine whether we can consider internal funding or even external funding as well. If our IRR is, you know, the value of the IRR, if you calculate properly, we can decide, you know, even we can consider internal or even external funding as well, even borrow money from the banks. The next one, life cycle cost. Life cycle cost. The total, or they call it total ownership cost of the projects. Okay, one more thing, you know, if we don't know how to do all that, all right, it's not just for a project to be successful. It's not all about getting the budget. Okay, it's all about, for business point of view, all about to make sure the project perform to its intended goal in terms of financial goals. Does the project get exactly the savings every year accordingly or not? And then from there, they have to look at the actual value of the money, not just the estimated value from the project proposal for the initial calculation. Okay, you have to look into even life cycle cost. Okay, life cycle cost, you have to factor all the costs, operating costs of the equipment, okay, spare parts cost throughout the lifetime. Is there any tax to be paid and all that? Okay, and then is there any depreciations? Okay, inflation rate and all that. Let's say if you buy spare parts, the spare part cost won't be the same for the next 15 years. You have to factor inflation costs. Okay, you have to factor maybe the so-called, you know, the other factor as well, you know, the cost increase of the part itself. Okay, you have to factor let's say the maintenance cost. Okay, maybe the maintenance cost for next 15 years cannot be the same. All right, and then if you borrow money from the banks, how much they will be the rates, you know, can change over the period. Is it the same rates or different? You have to calculate all that. At the end of the day, you have to check that all that, you know, when you check your performance, you have to convert it into all that number and you compare with all that. Yeah? At the end of the day, will you achieve the projected net present value, okay, the projected total life cycle cost that will give you profit, okay, even the projected internal rate of return for that period. Okay, so you like it or not, that's the fundamentals. So as a technical personnel, you like it or not, we have to learn. Okay, that will help us to prepare much more solid or stronger business case for our proposal. I often attended, high level discussion on the decisions making process. Okay, on the so-called, even for technical projects. There's some part of that, they want to get some kind of assurance technically is feasible or not. That's all. That's our job as technical person. We have to make sure, go out there telling them confidently, convincingly that technically should be no problem at all. Okay, all the mitigation factors should be taken care already. But when it comes, the rest of the discussion is always about money. It's all about financial returns. How soon, how quick, how secure, okay, how stable, how secure. Can someone guarantee what if, okay? Can someone guarantee this, how you control the cost, how to make more profit from that, how to make more money from that, can we get more on all that? And finally, that will give them the benefit of the doubts. Yes or no. It's often non-technical discussion. Some technical, but not that much. It's all about the financial benefits. So like it or not, for technical personnel, engineer managers, even myself, I learned quite late. Okay, I learned all this quite late. Okay, I learned mostly when I rejoined the private sector in 2012. I learned more about it because I involved more about it. I involved more with that kind of level of, discussion or meetings or decision making process. Okay, even personally as a business, as a even for now as a freelance, I have to convince my clients from the business point of view as well. How much the value that I can bring if they engage me, for example. All must be converted into the business performance improvement and all about RM or currency. Okay, so like it or not, okay, things has changed. Engineers, technical personnel are expected to have more some kind of business minded, all right, for us to start to become more convincing. Otherwise, we always will allow, okay, others to convince on behalf of us. Okay, so it's better. Okay, you don't have to be an expert in financial. You don't have to be the certified, so-called financial controller or something like that. We don't have to, but at least we know some basic knowledge, okay, and how to conduct, the basic of financial assessment for our own projects or our own programs. That will somehow will help us to become more convincing to the top management when we are presenting to them. Okay, everything needs money. Okay, and when we need money, we have to be very convincing and we have to speak the same language. Okay, it's more challenging for us, but somehow or rather, I think if we have experience, it's not difficult for us to learn because we can quickly apply that. Okay, we don't have to learn the way we learn in the university. All right, we have to learn. It's easier for us to look at it because we have just need to know the fundamental and how does it work. That's it. Okay, with that, I hope the sharing will be useful. All right, so money talks. Okay, we need money to get things done. Okay, so we have to be convincing when we talk about getting money or getting approval for the investment by by the decision makers or by the top management. Okay, I hope this video is useful for you. Okay, if you feel it's useful, please share and also subscribe to this channel. And until we see you in the next video, okay, so stay safe, okay, stay healthy, stay happy, and also stay energy efficient. Okay, see you again.